On this episode of MythBusters, it's a botanical bonanza when Jamie and Adam shoot wind at record speeds.
I love this job.
I think we might exceed Mach 1 on this.
To test the myth that in a storm, a piece of straw can slice clean through a palm tree trunk.
That is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
And meanwhile, to find out if plants have feelings, Grant and Tori embrace their inner sadist and convert the workshop into a horticultural house of horrors.
You hear it screaming?
Science isn't always pretty.
Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage and Jamie Hyneman.
Aren't tracer rounds illegal?
Between them, over 30 years special effects experience.
That's what I'm talking about!
Joining them, Tori Belleci,
What could go wrong?
Carrie Byron,
We're going for total annihilation.
and Grant Imahara.
I'm pooping as fast as I can!
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
What's the myth?
This is what I've been wanting to do since we started doing this show. It is that in a tropical storm, the winds can become so powerful that they'll take a piece of straw and give it enough energy to drive it right through a palm tree.
That sounds like it's right down our alley. Small objects accelerated to really, really high speeds and see what they do, what kind of damage we can achieve.
I can barely wait.
Storms can be incredibly powerful, but can they propel a fragile piece of straw so fast it becomes a flying missile? At the wind speeds they reach, anything is possible.
Any guesses?
200 miles an hour?
Keep going.
250 miles per hour?
Nope, you gotta keep going. The highest ever recorded wind speed was taken using Doppler radar in Oklahoma City in 1999, and they got 318 miles an hour.
No way. I don't know how we're gonna do that. We could use a jet, but it would burn everything to ash while we tried to use it.
No, it's simpler than that. I have a trick up my sleeve, and it involves a really big air gun.
I like it.
We are arming the chicken cannon.
Jamie and Adam made a cock-a-doodle-doo of an air shooter before, when they tested the splat power of projecting thawed versus frozen chickens on the windshields of planes. Hurtling foul at speeds of up to 150 miles per hour, they set a new low in in-flight food service standards. For this myth, they have to more than double the oomph of the chicken launcher.
That's the stuff.
But the shooter doesn't need to be bigger to squeeze the air out faster.
The difference here is that this is going to be much longer and it's going to be much smaller because what we need is velocity, really high velocity.
The plan is to get an air compressor, attach it to a metal tank with a release valve, attach that to a very long pipe that will act as the barrel, and at the end of it all, place the target. A very tall, swaying palm. Jamie lays out a 5-foot-long, 4-inch diameter metal pipe. This will be the main body of the shooter that will contain the compressed air just before it's released. Then he screws on a device that will tell them what PSI, or pounds per square inch, of pressure they're at.
We have to have a gauge on it to measure the pressure. That will be this device right here, which will attach to the pipe.
Adam fashions a simple loader for the ammo by cutting a slot into a piece of pipe and fitting a cylindrical plastic tube over the top that simply slides back and forth.
I'm making what's called a breech loader. Basically, it'll allow us to pop in whatever we're going to fire out of it, whether it's straw or toothpicks or anything, and close it back up.
With Adam stuck in the breech, Jamie adds a release valve that has a lightning-fast electronic trigger. It's one of his most loved toys and has a very long name.
This particular thing is one of my favorite gadgets, and it's called a pilot-assisted diaphragm valve. And that means that it's kind of in a state of almost being ready to trip, and then when you hit the trigger, all of a sudden it goes pop, and all the air goes through.
Air pressure alone won't give the straw the thrust it needs. To get enough momentum going, it's going to need a really good run-up on a very long track, the barrel.
Unfortunately, we're limited to about 150 psi here in the shop. Our solution to that is to have a massively long barrel, and that will give us the velocity that we need. By the time we get to the end of the barrel, it should be going quite fast.
Jamie and Adam start to connect lengths of half-inch diameter copper pipe end to end. Piece by piece, they solder on down the workshop floor. But just how long does this super stretched out straw airstrip need to be?
Hey, that's enough.
One more.
No, come on. We got 60 feet here.
We're gonna go for the max sooner or later. Might as well do it now.
Okay.
What the hey? They extend it out even more and take it all the way to 80 feet. With a barrel this size, the straw may streak down the middle so fast it breaks some records.
I'm a little nervous to say this right now, but I think we might exceed Mach 1 on this.
Now they've got the length, they have to make it straight.
The more we can eliminate any bends in the system, the more efficiency we'll get out of it. And by efficiency, I mean insane amounts of speed. Here's my laser.
To get the pipe to line up just right, they're going to use one of Adam's favorite toys now, a laser.
Need to go up just a tiny bit. Stop. Stop. That looks just about right.
That is pretty darn good.
With the kinks all ironed out, all that's left to do is cement it into place. While Jamie gets gluing, Adam goes to fetch the target, the palm tree.
Hi.
Hi, Dale.
Yes, sir.
Adam Savage, nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
Owner of the Neon Palm Nursery, Dale Matiska, has been fascinated by the exotic allure of these tropical plants for 30 years and is an oasis of information.
There's a myth going around that in a strong enough wind, a piece of straw can be driven right through the trunk of a palm tree. Have you ever heard this?
I believe it's true.
Really?
Oh, yes. It's a different kind of trunk than most trees. They have what's called vascular bundles of fibers, and they're sort of, if you can imagine, like a braided cable.
So you're saying it's actually a property of the palm trunk that perhaps makes it more permeable than we think of a normal tree trunk.
This is correct.
So palms have very permeable trunks. Good insight, Dale. Having thousands of different kinds on site, Adam gets touchy-feely.
Wow, what's this hole from?
Woodpecker.
From big
That is beautiful.
Yeah, awesome.
to small
This is a dwarf palmetto.
to just right.
Let's check this one out. It's Washingtonia robusta.
Is this the one you're actually thinking of letting us work with?
Yes.
Cool.
It's a big boy.
Yeah.
Big boy is an understatement.
Okay, ready for takeoff.
The palm is nearly 20 feet tall and a robusta 3,000 pounds.
Look at that.
So, will Jamie be surprised at the size of Adam's trunk?
Jamie's reaction. Oh, God, I hope I get this right, because then you can cut him right back to back. He's going to go.
What did you do?
It may have seemed like a good idea at the store, but back home, the rush of Adam's major purchase is fading. The palm has to go at the end of the barrel of the straw shooter, all the way at the back of the workshop.
I mean, I just foresee just heartache and backache all the way down and all the way back with this thing.
Adam, you may be psychic.
First things first, we're just gonna drag it back.
They put a chain around its massive ball of roots and start to lift it out. But it's so bottom heavy, it's hard to balance.
Now, what do you wanna...
You're not hurt, are you?
No, I'm not hurt.
Okay.
Thankfully, Adam's not hurting, but getting the palm in place is a painful experience.
Sounds like a horror show up there.
Finally, they get it upright and have a clear passage to the end.
Am I clear to my left?
You're in the corridor. It's beautiful. You're fine. You don't have to steer that way. You can even out. That's good. I think you can lower it down.
Touchdown.
There you go.
My guess is that's going to be perfect. All we got to do is shave off this a little bit right here, but we're right on target. It's just beautiful.
It's a palm tree.
It is.
Guns aimed at it.
That's perfect.
Sound the trumpets. The time has come for the boys to blow wind.
Okay, you guys, plants have feelings. And as an emotional response to a threatening situation, they can even scream.
Is this a myth?
Yeah, yeah. Have you heard this one?
You know, I do remember there was a guy who took plants and hooked them up to a polygraph machine and did some tests.
Well, in fact, back in the late 60s and early 70s, he was a world polygraph expert. He developed this theory that plants, eggs, yogurt, all these things have a way of communicating on an emotional level that we don't even perceive or understand.
The concept of primary perception may be a little out there for some people. It means that all living organisms on Earth, from a whale, a human being, a plant, right down to a single cell, is interconnected, able to feel all sorts of emotions and to communicate with ESP. The theory was developed by the founder of the FBI's polygraph unit, Cleve Baxter.
I've been reading the experiments of Cleve Baxter. When he thought about burning the plant, the needle on the polygraph jumped, as if the plant could actually read his mind.
To put his theory to the test, the team is going to recreate some of his original experiments. First, to see if vegetation really does have feelings, they're going to get a plant, hook it up to a polygraph, subject it to physical and mental stress, and see if they get a reaction. Grant heads off to the nursery to get their victims and takes shop assistant Terry along as some extra muscle.
That one looks like it's giving you the evil eye, dude.
I know. I'm gonna kick this pink one.
At the Tropical Indoor Plants from Africa aisle, plant carer Cindy picks out Dracaenas, the same species used in the original Baxter experiments.
We were wondering if the plants that we take are gonna have some sort of separation anxiety.
Oh, well, they shouldn't unless you put them like in an extreme environment right away.
Well,
like
have you ever seen the show?
Yeah, yes.
They unload the unsuspecting plants into the truck.
Gentle, Grant. Keep your thoughts pure.
It's hard when you put a plastic bag over their head.
And Terry is giddy with excitement.
If you could talk to the plants, just imagine it, conversing with an orange carrot.
In fact, he seems a little touched by the sun.
Just imagine it. What would you say to an onion? What would you say to a baby carrot?
We will pray for you, Terrence. We will pray.
I feel closer to the plant kingdom already.
With the plants crossed off the Baxter grocery list, the next item they need has just arrived at the workshop's special delivery.
Grant, do you know how long we've wanted one of these?
Yes.
And I don't mean a box.
One genuine Stolting 22600.
Oh, I hear something rattling already.
The same model polygraph used in the, you guessed it, original Baxter experiments.
Oh, sweet. I saw Meet the Parents. I know how these things work.
Ever done time in prison, Jack?
When humans are in situations of stress, such as telling a lie to someone, the theory is there are often changes to their body. Their heart rate goes up and they sweat more. It's the GSR, or galvanic skin response component of the polygraph, that measures the amount of sweat. It does this by putting out a tiny electrical current that monitors any change in the skin's conductivity. Baxter took the GSR electrodes from the polygraph, attached them to a leaf, and said he could tap into the currents that flow into our green friends. But before they hook up their new plaything to a plant, they have to test it.
What I'm about to do now is prep the machine to hook up to Tori so that we can see if it's working.
Tori is already breaking a sweat.
Why am I nervous? This is ridiculous.
Detective Imahara begins.
Do you drive in the state of California?
Yes. How'd I do? Did I pass that one?
Okay. Do you work on a science-based reality show called MythBusters?
I mean, you can call it work.
Have you ever lied about your age?
Absolutely not.
They check the results, and Tori is caught like a rat in a trap.
Number 6, have you ever lied about your age? Your galvanic skin response peaked there.
What, I said no, right? I said no, but because I have lied about my age before.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. The only time I guess I would lie about my age is maybe if I was like in a situation, let's say like spring break,
Wow, what integrity you have, Tori.
You got some questions?
Burning questions.
To make doubly sure the polygraph is working right, it's Grant's turn to take some heat.
Do you find quantum physics easy for you?
No.
Has your GPA ever dropped below a 4.0?
Yes.
Have you ever made or wanted to make a female robot? Answer the question, Mr. Imahara. It's a simple question, Grant.
No.
Grant says no, but the needle says yes, yes, yes.
When I asked Grant about whether or not he'd ever wanted to or built a female robot, the needle went off the chart. And I'm a little disturbed by that.
So the machine has exposed Tori as being sensitive about his middle age, and Grant has a thing for replicants. Seems like the polygraph has detected their secrets and lies just fine. So now they can go ahead and hook it up to a plant.
All right, Grant, I got our guinea pig.
Back at Tropical Central, Adam and Jamie are testing if storm force winds can blow a piece of straw clean through a palm tree. They've built a giant air shooter and are ready to put it to the test. They groom their target.
Basket weaving is the primitive people's favorite class.
Then Adam preps their projectiles.
We've got straw and hay and rigid plant material. We're going to bundle these up, fire a bunch at the same time. That'll help them each provide each other with some stability in the tube. It will also give us multiple chances to hit our target.
A high-speed camera is set up to tape the action, a chronometer to record the speed, and all is ready to go.
We are set to fire.
Or maybe not. Jamie has some bad news.
What is up?
Well, we have a bit of a sticky wicket here.
All right.
We're being told to pull these palms, and we don't want to use them.
According to the higher-ups, the palm Adam chose isn't a species that grows in tropical storm territory, so they don't want to use it because it wouldn't be a true test of the myth. So all Adam and Jamie's sweat and toil getting it into the workshop was for nothing.
After all of that, we're yanking that thing. We're not even going to try and fire into it at all.
Apparently not.
Like, we're to stop, even though the very next thing we have to do is load that thing with air, put some straw in it, and fire it at that thing. It's about 5 minutes of work.
And that is our instructions.
I'm just going to stand here and wait for the problem to go away.
Okay.
Jamie and Adam are not pleased.
So after 3 hours of loading it in and setting it up, 4 hours at this point, we're now going to pull it for another couple of hours and send it back and get some other palm tree in here that does satisfy production. And it's ridiculous to me.
While they're waiting, and to blow off some frustration, at least they can do some test shots to see if the shooter works and can reach 318 miles per hour, the world record wind speed.
Let's fire a cotton ball.
Okay.
For the practice run, they're using a cotton ball.
All right, now I'm going to go watch this thing exit the barrel, okay?
Okay, charging.
They charge the air compressor up to 80 psi, about half its power, and are set to fire.
80. 3, 2, 1.
That came out beautifully.
It looked like it was going pretty quick from here.
They check their numbers. We always knew they were full of wind, but the power and accuracy of their blow is impressive.
That was perfect. That was 321 miles per hour.
This is off by 1% of the speed we were hoping to hit.
The very first test that we did, 300 miles an hour, give or take. It's almost like we knew exactly what we were doing.
Having got the shooter right, Jamie and Adam are now happy campers again and take the palm all the way back out of the workshop without a grumble.
Do you need a push?
Two highly professional Mythbusters at work who know who writes the paychecks.
There you go.
Breathe, Adam. They've ordered you a beautiful new tree. Primary perception is an open the portals of your mind kind of myth, that all forms of life have feelings and can read minds. Recreating the experiments of primary perception guru Cleve Baxter, Grant and Tori are using a polygraph. Their first test is going to be on this plant. Tori makes a special screw-on clamp to secure the electrode from the polygraph to the leaf of the Dracaena.
Don't worry, little buddy. We're not going to do anything mean to you. Yet.
No, dude.
Sorry, we're not supposed to freak it out?
No.
Okay.
To help block out any accidental electrical interference that could affect the polygraph, like a cell phone going off or a plane flying overhead, they're going to conduct the test inside a shipping container.
We'll take it into the container, which we know acts as a really good shield from radio frequency interference. The camera crew, everybody else will be outside, so all that camera equipment's going to be out there recording us remotely.
Grant and Tori clear their minds.
Let's go to our happy place.
And become one with nature.
There's definitely a little deflection there.
A little slap on the leaf caused the needle on the polygraph to move. Could it mean the plant is feeling fear and pain?
Plant's kind of twitching.
Because he knows what's coming.
To up the ouch factor, Tori pulls out the heavy artillery.
Whoa, huge spike.
The needle moved way more when the strength of the attack was increased.
Each time we hit the plant with the fire extinguisher, the needle pinned.
The boys are baffled, but move on to test if plants can read minds. This time, Tori's not going to touch the plant at all. He's just going to imagine hurting it.
Think about something specific to this plant, and I want you to really, you have to really intend to do it. Like, I am going to do this. I'm going to kick your butt.
Ready? At a good baseline, I gave it a mental picture, picturing it burning on fire.
The needle jumps.
Are you serious? Stop. No way. Tori had a thought, and the plant reacted.
What the heck was that?
I don't know. Okay, you're not touching the plant, is that correct?
No, I'm not touching anything. All I'm doing is I'm staring it down and imagining it in flames.
Is the Dracaena tapping into Tori's consciousness and terrified of being burnt?
Okay, that's it for today.
I mean, I'm not saying I believe this, but
yeah,
it's kind of hard to dispute the ink.
Even engineer Grant, man of science, is taking off his skeptic cap.
If I were to say that it was a random occurrence, be some pretty amazing coincidences going on.
It boggles the mind.
They unboggle themselves enough to decide on their next move. They got some mind-blowing results, but moving and talking so close to the polygraph may have been causing vibrations that made the needle move. This time, they're going to repeat the ESP test, but with themselves outside the container.
This experiment is plant inside container, no human inside the container.
And Tori is going to keep his mental strikes a secret. That way, Grant won't be influenced when he looks for any changes in the thin blue line. Jedi Tori sums up all his powers and shows no mental mercy. Attack 1. Hard to tell what he's thinking. He could just be constipated. Attack 2. Again, no idea, but he's obviously one sick puppy. Attack 3. Why is he smiling? Methinks Tori is enjoying this a little too much.
We're running this experiment. I'm trying to keep the plant on its toes. I didn't want to just give it the same mental attack each time. Okay, that's 15 minutes.
Okay.
The guys compare notes, and Grant learns a lot about Tori's state of mind.
Okay.
At minute 4 to minute 4, 45 seconds, I gave it an angry attack. An angry attack is just I'm mad at the plant. I don't necessarily want to kill it. Minute 5 and 30 seconds to 6 minutes, I give it an evil attack. The The evil attack, I'm ready to destroy it.
So angry, you're just mad, but you're not going to hurt it.
Well, I'm gonna hurt it. I'm just not gonna completely destroy it. At minute 9 to 9:30.
Okay.
It was a happy attack.
What's a happy attack?
A happy attack is being really nice to the plant, hugging it, putting it in a nice greenhouse, making it feel wanted.
His methods may have been a little kooky, but Torrey meant serious business. So has his series of inspired attacks made a mark on the paper?
Just to look at the data, the evil attack did not intimidate it. In fact, it's exactly the same as the happy attack.
Angry attack got a little bit of fluctuation, but I mean...
That is a possible thing.
The polygraph didn't react to every one of Torrey's assaults, but there was a response to his angry attack.
So if we total up all the responses to stimuli, us inside of the container, 35% of the time, the plant responded to stimuli. With us outside of the container, 28% of the time, the plant responded to Torrey's psychic stimuli.
So there was less needle response with the guys outside the container, but still enough to keep Baxter's theory that all life is interconnected alive.
Ooh, this is weird stuff, man.
To test the myth that in a storm, a piece of straw can hit a palm tree trunk so hard it can come out the other side, Jamie and Adam only needed 3 things. Straw, check.
3.
An air shooter that can reach record speeds, check. And a palm tree. Uh-oh. After setting up a massive 3,000-pound palm, the producer got them to pull it out. Seems it didn't fit strict myth-busting standards. There are about 2,600 different kinds of palms in the world. But the big guy wants a species that can only be found in a balmy tropical paradise. Hula girl not included.
When you think of a palm tree, when everybody thinks of a palm tree, they think of a long, thin trunk with coconuts at the top. That's called a coconut palm. What we've got here is the best analog to a coconut palm. It's a queen palm. It grows in California, and it is the closest cousin to the coconut palm that we could obtain.
The right species of palm, the right kind of projectile, the right amount of wind. Ideal straw-spitting conditions.
So we have built the fastest air gun we have ever built on the show. It's going precisely the speed we want. Do you think it's going to work?
I don't know. There have been studies done using 2x4s where they only got them up to around 100 miles an hour, and they went through several layers of plywood and even cinder block walls.
To get something as light as a piece of straw to travel right through and come out the other side of something as solid as a palm tree, the key could be speed. The faster an object travels, the more force it has. With enough of a push, perhaps even a featherweight stalk of straw could become a heavyweight projectile. That's the theory. Now to find out.
Now we're going to see what kind of damage real straw does to a palm tree.
The ammo is loaded and wadded with a cotton ball. The wadding will equalize the air pressure behind the straw as it flies, so it hits the palm evenly when it comes out.
Ready to go.
Pressurizing. 80, go ahead.
Firing straw in 3, 2, 1. I love this job.
The straw shoots down the barrel and slams into the trunk. But did it break on through to the other side?
That one looks really serious. Dude.
That's a good 1/4 inch.
That's actually, I'd say that's 3/8.
Adam, you're splitting straws. The bottom line is the straw didn't make it out, but it did manage to pierce the hard outer shell of the trunk and embed itself a solid way in.
That would be a result.
That's a result.
Adam checks the airspeed it was traveling at.
Yep, pretty much this looks like we're traveling at right in that butter zone of 318, 320 miles per hour. This shot's just beautiful.
It was a great shot, but that means even the highest wind speed ever recorded wasn't enough force to push the straw through the trunk. But this myth isn't blown away To test the myth of primary perception that all life has feelings and the power of ESP, Grant and Tori hooked a plant to a polygraph, attacked it physically and mentally, and the plant seemed to react. Could they be on their way to confirming this out-of-the-ordinary myth?
So how are you guys going with this experiment? I leave you guys alone for 2 seconds and you've proven plants have feelings.
Well, I mean, we've been getting some weird results. There's some kind of correlation between my thoughts in the plant and the polygraph machine.
So what do you guys plan to do to further this kooky experiment?
Ever-resourceful Grant's got a plan. This time, the team is going to repeat their plant ESP experiment, but swap out the polygraph with an EEG machine.
An EEG is actually a very sensitive voltmeter, and so it uses electrodes connected to the head to measure any electrical brainwave patterns.
All living cells have electric currents running through them. Hooking up the Dracena to the EEG might give the team more accurate results. And again, they're following in the footsteps of Cleve Baxter.
The original series of experiments used an EEG machine, and this gives us the opportunity to see whether it's a real plant phenomenon or whether it's an artifact of the polygraph machine.
Tori goes to town with his mental calisthenics one more time. But there's no blip on the screen.
Are you having big mean thoughts or little mean thoughts? What were you thinking of?
Big mean thoughts. I was just imagining tearing that plant apart in different ways.
I would say that that plant's not reacting to you.
No.
The data the team has from plants is conflicting, but Baxter did plenty of other experiments on different organisms they can try.
Okay, Grant, I'm gonna need you to cough.
Reminds me of my last trip to the airport.
They're going to test a popular breakfast item, rich in protein, B vitamins, and most importantly, live bacteria.
So we're gonna see if yogurt has emotions.
Well, I mean, most people get kind of freaked out when they hear that yogurt is a live bacteria.
You heard right, emotional acidophilus.
Cool, we get to torture yogurt.
All right.
The idea is to take 2 samples of yogurt from the same tub, leave one in peace, and persecute the other. Part of the primary perception theory is that all life is in tune with each other, so the bacteria should sense that its buddies are being messed with. They squirt yogurt into test tube 1, insert conductive gold wire, and connect it to the EEG. They've already learned movement might affect the results, so to absorb any vibration, they set up test tube 2's stand on a foam base.
Okay, 10 feet's right here.
The stage is set, and Carrie goes into her good neighbor act.
Let's go ahead and use the happy stimulus, which would be sugar, which is my happy stimulus too.
Go.
That
No
is freaky. The instant she dropped the sugar into the test tube, there was a peak.
There was an unmistakable leap on the EEG. Was the bacteria in test tube 1 jumping for joy for test tube 2's sugar high? Or did someone in the room accidentally move?
You didn't touch the table.
No,
You
I
were
was
standing right
standing
there.
right
I was
next to
standing
you.
right
Upping the aggravation to the max, they pour in boiling water.
Let's see if we can stimulate it by making it angry.
Drop it like it's hot.
Nothing happened that time.
No result.
If the death of the bacterium BFFs doesn't get a reaction, what will?
All right, well, I guess that first test was a coincidence.
I would love to be wowed. I would love to have my mind changed. That's my favorite, but so far I'm not convinced.
Yeah, this test was less than conclusive.
Can a piece of straw propelled by storm force winds pass through a palm tree trunk? Well, the MythBusters are a little stuck on this one. They got a piece of straw to go in, but not out.
That's a good 1/4 inch.
They've already got their air shooter dialed up to 318 miles per hour, the highest recorded wind speed in a storm, so they can't change that, but they can change the ammo. This time, they're going to swap out the straw for a different plant material. Thatched reed.
Your average person picking up a piece of this on the street and go, oh, look, I found some straw. However, it is a little more rigid and may actually provide a lot more penetrating power than the straw does.
80, go ahead.
All right, firing thatched reed in 3, 2, 1.
Ouch! the reed pierces the trunk like tiny spears.
That right there is pretty serious. The amount of penetration we're getting from this debris is pretty amazing.
The more rigid reed dug in 2 inches deeper than the straw, but it still didn't go all the way through.
I think by the figures we're getting, you'd need a palm tree that was 2 inches thick. Then you could be reasonably assured that one of these might go all the way through it.
If something as strong as reed didn't make it, can anything at all go through a palm tree trunk? It's time to beat things up with some stronger materials and have a little fun in the process.
We can shoot anything that'll fit in the gun.
Piano wire will tickle the boys' ivories.
Straws, you know, that's good to know. It's what the myth is about. But if I get this piece of wire to go sailing right through the concrete brick wall in the back of the shop, that'll be what gets my juices flowing. Go ahead.
Firing piano wire. 3, 2, 1. You know, that's the first shot we've had that actually sounded like an impact. Yeah!
Touché. Not only did the piano wire slice through the trunk like it was butter, it came out the other side and kept going. For the first time, they got something to pass right through the tree.
I don't think it hit the concrete, but let's see.
It did, because I can't pull this board off the wall.
3 different objects skewered to perfection.
That is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Now all they need to do is get the straw to serve up the same thing. In the meantime, the primary perception myth is that all life, from the highly evolved to the most simple, is interlinked, aware of what is going on around it, and has psychic powers. By using a polygraph and EEG machine to detect any vibes, they subjected a plant and live bacteria to stress.
Nothing happened that time.
Their results haven't given them a concrete answer either way, so they're going to try another experiment, this time with human cells. White blood cells from Tori's mouth will be put into a test tube. Gold wire will be inserted into the tube and connected to the EEG. Then Tori will be tortured to see if his own cells in the tube feel his pain and freak out.
Tori, would you come over here? I need to take your leukocytes.
You're not going to use that on me.
Leukocytes, commonly known as white blood cells, live inside the body. A simple way to catch them is to spit. Tori horks into test tubes filled with saline solution.
With my mask in your mouth, this is probably a really great audio moment.
Go.
Proud of his Italian heritage, Tori may be, but his display doesn't exactly rival the beauty of the Trevi Fountain.
Fresh.
Lovely. Spit cappuccino.
Grant is looking a little queasy.
Dude, you let a dog lick your face. This can't gross you out.
Then the test tubes of spittle go for a spin in a centrifuge. The force of the hyperspeed circular motion will separate the cells from the liquid.
You realize if something goes wrong with this, we'll be showered in Tori's spit.
It's disgusting, isn't it?
Grant checks a sample to make sure they've captured their quarry.
That is definitely a white blood cell.
Now, here comes the shocking part.
Can we have somebody else do it? I just don't trust her for some reason.
I'm sorry, I've got to run the EEG, so...
She's enjoying it too much.
I think you have to close your eyes so you don't expect it.
Mistress Carrie is going to inflict physical pain on Tori using a stun gun.
Close your eyes.
Stun guns emit electric currents, so they move Carrie far enough away that when she turns it on, it won't cause interference on the EEG.
That's pretty good.
Out of range, she's ready to fry her friend. Do not try this at home. These devices do hurt bad.
It's worse when you don't know what's coming.
So did you get anything?
Nothing. No reading whatsoever.
Where you want it?
Oh, don't put it any place that would really be bad.
How now?
Maybe a little bump, but you know.
There's barely a flicker on the EEG that indicates the isolated white blood cells sense anything.
With our remote stimulation of Tori,
How about now?
we haven't seen any response.
I think we can safely say this one's busted.
It's busted. I don't see anything happening.
Yeah.
No.
All right, so we finished all these experiments. You guys had fun shocking me, but we still haven't been able to explain those weird results that we got with the plant and the polygraph.
I think you'll find if we take all of the ways that we learned to isolate our experiment from outside influences and apply them to this last experiment, we'll get our answer.
The final experiment is a cracker. This time, the innocent chosen for the sacrifice is the humble egg. Grant whips up an intimidating-looking metal rig designed to break a bunch of eggs at random intervals.
So this is the egg dropper, and I've got 10 cylinders here, and the shaft of the piston blocks the egg from falling. When I trigger it, the piston will go up, and the egg will fall through.
Dude, this thing is badass.
You like it?
I love it.
You can take it home after this.
This test is to see if one cellular being, a plant, responds when another cellular being, an egg, is destroyed. The test has been designed to completely block outside movement, vibration, or electrical interference from affecting the results. Here's how it'll go. The plant will be put on a foam base and connected to the polygraph inside the shipping container. Grant's egg dropper will be placed outside the cage over a pot of boiling water. Then the eggs will plummet one by one into the drink.
Okay, once this boils, we'll be ready to go.
No one, not even the eggs, will know when the time comes to meet their maker.
Not only will it choose a random cylinder, but also the time delay between cylinders will be random so that the eggs can't anticipate when the next one's going to drop.
The eggs are locked and loaded.
You just need to make an automatic toaster, automatic orange juicer. You're in business.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
So once I do this, we have 30 seconds to exit. Okay. Ready? 3,
egg,
2, 1. Sequence started.
Every single soul, including the crew, exits the building. Trapped in the wheel of death, the first egg drops. If the myth is true, the plant should have reacted. The same when egg 2 falls. Omelet, anyone? After 45 minutes, the team comes back inside to check the results.
So we're looking for a jump in the polygraph when the egg drops.
Correct. That would be the plant's response to the eggs buying it in the boiling water. Okay, there's the first one.
And no reaction on the polygraph.
No screaming, no psychic activity. Well, I had a quick look at the trace, and it was kind of varying just a little bit, but...
But nothing in correspondence to the dropping of the eggs.
No, definitely not. Not even a peep. Just a...
It's a cool egg dropping mechanism.
Thanks. Thanks.
Even with the plant and polygraph in total isolation, the needle still didn't move. Along with the eggs, looks like Baxter's theory of primary perception is broken.
I think we've done a really good job of replicating all of the primary perception experiments. I mean, we got the right plants, we got our vintage polygraph, we've been extremely thorough. We're drowning in polygraph paper. I found out I'm a sadist. From all this, what do we get?
Well, I agree. I think we did a really good job of isolating all the variables, things that might have influenced the original experimenters and given a false positive. There's vibration, electromagnetics, and most importantly, we took ourselves out of the equation.
But there was a point where we got some weird results, but we weren't able to repeat it. And if you can't repeat it, it's not science. So, this one's busted.
Busted.
But I did like shocking you a whole lot.
I know, you guys didn't get to feel it, and I think maybe we should share.
I thought I took the batteries out of that thing.
I thought you did too.
At Hurricane HQ, Jamie and Adam proved that while straw can't pierce a palm at 318 miles per hour, piano wire can.
There is a theory that we haven't tested here, and it's that in a gale force, a hurricane, or tornado wind, the tree is actually bending, and the bending of the tree actually makes its pores or makes its material open up and makes it more penetratable. So I'm thinking one of the reasons we got this thin trunked tree is to put a ratchet strap on it and pull it like a big old bow.
Palm trees are built to stand up to tropical storms. Their tall, skinny trunks and lack of branches extending out offer less surface area for winds to blow on. That, combined with their very flexible trunks, allows them to duck and weave more than other trees.
You're going to have to do this fairly quickly, as I'm hurting my shoulder here.
Oh, now you realize it's heavy.
To replicate the stress a palm would be under in a storm, they brace and strap their tree and bend it back as much as they can without snapping the trunk.
I think that's about the limit of what we're going to get out of this in terms of bending.
Yep, I mean, if we crack it, we got to get another one.
They also move the palm closer to the barrel, so it's in point-blank range. Maybe the tree isn't too comfortable right about now, but these are potentially ideal conditions for the straw.
We're going to give the straw the best possible chance that we can to do something to this tree. So if it doesn't go through under these absolute maxed out conditions, the myth is totally busted.
The straw is loaded.
Okay, you're ready.
Firing a bent palm in 3, 2, 1.
So what's waiting at the other end?
So we only got about a 1/4 inch.
Yeah, there's about a 1/4 inch.
The straw dug into the trunk about a 1/4 inch. Even in optimum storm wind conditions, it was nowhere close to coming out the other side.
Even with ideal conditions, point-blank range, with the palm tree bent at the most severe angle we feel comfortable with it without breaking its back, we get the same results we did with a normal palm tree with the straw from like 50 centimeters away.
But before calling this myth a bust, they still have one more option to try.
I think the only thing left for us to do is to use the thatch reed, which is, I believe, the strongest thing that we've found that is an organic material that could be mistaken for a straw. Pressurizing.
Because the thatched reed is way more rigid and tougher than straw, this time having the advantage of being fired at point-blank range into a bent trunk could make it an unstoppable force.
Firing thatched reed into the bent palm. 3, 2, 1.
So, did it work?
They didn't make it out of the barrel.
Nope, it still got stuck.
Certainly did not enhance the effect. It's about the same as it was getting before.
The point is that bending the trunk and shooting it at the stressed point where the fibers would presumably be open, according to that theory that we found, does not have any appreciable effect on the penetration that we're getting. So I'd say we can put this one to bed.
So the straw through a palm tree myth is busted. But before they take their shooter apart, Adam has one more myth he wants to explore. This one was hatched down on the farm.
Oh, man. The myth is that a hurricane or a tornado can blow all the feathers off a chicken, so we got a feathered chicken there.
That's disgusting.
We're just going to unload the strong air current right at him, you see. Then I figured you could, take him home and eat him.
I only eat things that I kill myself.
We got one chicken, we got a strong wind, and we have a foul odor.
To really send its feathers flying, they're going for maximum airspeed, ramping up the PSI all the way.
If this doesn't blow all the feathers off, I don't know what will.
3, 2, 1.
But the chicken's feathers are barely ruffled.
This chicken has just as many feathers as when he arrived. We could not blow the feathers off this chicken with 350, 60 some odd miles per hour of wind.
Well, then I guess there's no way a hurricane could. And besides that, the chicken itself is going to go someplace in 318 mile per hour wind.
Well, that is a solid day's work of experimenting. Straw might actually embed itself in your palm tree, but it is never going to pass all the way through.
Nope, that's busted. And it ain't going to blow all the feathers off your chicken either.
No way.
Let's clean this up tomorrow.
Hey, what do you think? You think we can get that wire to go all the way through an engine block?